Ladies and gentlemen, it would appear as if disgraced Democrat political aspirant Stacey Abrams has just been caught in a $2 billion taxpayer-funded scam. You see, as the Department of Government Efficiency continues to peel back the layers of corruption inside of our federal government, we just keep on discovering never-ending fraud coming from the Democrats. And so, like I said, this time it's none other than Stacey Abrams who's the center of attention. So folks, take a look at this, then we're going to have a lot to talk about because I'll tell you what, this is one deep rabbit hole.
EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin says he's on a mission to track down billions of dollars that were either misspent or parked in accounts meant to boost liberal activists. The latest focus is on a nonprofit with ties to former Georgia Democratic gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams. The Free Beacon says the EPA is looking to where some $2 billion ended up. The Beacon writing out in their story that they have been looking into whether or not this money through the Powered Forward communities received the green energy grant, despite the fact that it was founded months earlier in late 2023 and never managed anywhere near the grant's dollar figure. Now, Abrams just this week was pretty vocal on X, saying she's no fan of these DOGE cuts. We'll look to see if this group responds to the accusation about the money being misspent.
Stacey Abrams has been vocally against the Department of Government Efficiency? Wow, I wonder why. Maybe it's because she embezzled $2 billion right before Joe Biden left the White House. But hey, before we unpackage all of that, take a look at what Mrs. Abrams had to say just 2 days ago.
With Trump firing probationary workers and Musk infiltrating even more of our personal data to sell off if he chooses, now is the time to know what's going on and to know what you can do about it.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what we can do about it. We can root out and expose all of these corrupt Democrats and put an end to all of this fraud and corruption inside of our federal government. So hey, on that note, let's take a look at exactly what went on with this Stacey Abrams situation. But before we do that, I want to say real quick, if you guys enjoy the daily news coverage, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton with my daily struggle against the YouTube algorithm. But okay, let's go ahead and break down this entire $2 billion Stacey Abrams scandal. As reported, just yesterday, the Department of Government Efficiency found $2 billion in taxpayer dollars designated for a fledgling nonprofit called Power Forward Communities, which had close ties to Democrat Stacey Abrams. Power Forward Communities was only a few months old with just $100 in the bank when it received the $2 billion grant in 2024. On their website, they listed partnerships with two other nonprofits, both founded by none other than Stacey Abrams. Abrams also serves as a senior counsel for Rewiring America, an organization that leads a coalition of groups including, you guessed it, Power Forward Communities. So folks, what this means is that just months before Joe Biden left the White House, Stacey Abrams created a brand new nonprofit organization with only $100 in the bank, then miraculously got a $2 billion federal grant with, guess what? No strings attached. And so folks, keep in mind, it's these very same Democrats that are currently melting down over Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency that are also signing off on and benefiting from corrupt and fraudulent federal grants just like this. In fact, you know what? Take a look at this next video. I think you guys are going to like this one.
At first they hated him, now they hate both of you.
Well, I think we're seeing an antibody reaction from those who are receiving the wasteful and fraudulent money.
They're being exposed.
Yes.
Nobody wants to be exposed when
I'll tell you a lesson I learned at PayPal. You know who complained the loudest, the quickest and the loudest and with the most amount of righteous indignation? The fraudsters. That's who complained first, loudest, and they would generally have this immense overreaction. That's how we knew they were the fraudsters. Mm-hmm. That's how we knew.
So folks, do you think there's a little bit of truth to that? Because hey, I sure do. The reason why all of these corrupt Democrats are freaking out right now is because they know they're all slowly getting exposed and that their taxpayer-funded racket is coming to an end. And so, hey, you know what? I'm just thankful that finally someone is doing something to put an end to all of this corruption and fraud that's been going on inside of our federal government. In fact, you guys should take a look at what President Trump had to say about Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency just the other day.
He's doing a very thankless job. It's really a thankless job. But he's helping us to save our country. Our country was in serious trouble. And I had to get the best guy, somebody with credibility, because if he were just a regular, good, very good, solid businessman, he wouldn't have the credibility. He's got the best credibility for this. And people also know he's an honest guy. He's an honest guy. He's just a very, very smart guy who's done amazing things. And this will be the biggest thing he's ever done. Because, you know, his companies are all great, but if this country goes bad, I guess where he is a little selfish is this. He knows one thing and probably doesn't think. But if this country goes bad, his stuff is not going to be worth very much, I can tell you.
Like I said, if the ship of America sinks, we're all going down with it.
And you know what? Not only is all of that 100% true, but also that's the opinion of someone that is actually invested in the long-term success of the United States of America. And the reason I point that out is because I want to ask you guys a question. Do you think that corrupt Democrats like Stacey Abrams really have a vested interest in the long-term success of this country? Or do you think they're just trying to plunder as much loot as they possibly can before the ship sinks to the bottom of the ocean? And you know what? That's actually a really great analogy. You see, all of us America First MAGA voters are actually trying to repair the ship, we're patching up all the holes and throwing water back overboard. Whereas the Democrats like Stacey Abrams are just sneaking around amidst all the chaos and filling their pockets with as many gold coins as they possibly can. So hey, like I said, thank God all of this corruption is finally being exposed. But you know what, folks? One of Stacey Abrams' good friends, Democratic House Rep Jasmine Crockett, actually weighed in on all of this just the other day. Now, as a warning, what I'm about to show you is probably the most hypocritical and incompetent thing I've seen all week. Take a look.
Now, President Trump says he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID that was done by a Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times. This was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again. We had a once in a lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do, or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
You hear that? The Democrats aren't in the business of giving out free money. But of course, that's only true when we're talking about hardworking Americans, who the Democrats very clearly hate. Because as you all know, when it comes to giving out free money to foreign countries or illegal immigrants, or to themselves via corrupt federal grants, then they're all about giving away free money. And by the way, quick side note, when we use the phrase free money, guess who's really paying for it? That's right, we are. But hey, this is one of the very unique things about Trump's $5,000 Doge dividend. It's being funded by waste that he's cutting from the federal budget as opposed to being an extra expense to the taxpayers. Also, I have to say, how out of touch do you have to be to try to say that a $5,000 tax refund isn't a big deal? That would change the lives of a lot of people in this country, and like I said earlier, we all know the Democrats are more than happy to give that money away to illegal immigrants, for instance, but when we're talking about actually helping Americans, then it's just a big waste of money. So hey, here's what I have to say once again. Let's all be happy that finally all of this corruption and fraud and waste is finally being exposed. But folks, I think that's going to be a wrap for this one, so please go down below in the comments, let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video, but only if you liked it. Like I said earlier, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help a ton. Thank you all very much for watching, and of course, as always, stay safe.